I have to say during this podcast that I'm flattered. I'm flattered by the Communist Chinese leadership in Beijing who brought to you, no holds barred, the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic that has destroyed the American economy, the economy of the Western world in particular, Africa, South America, Asia, and they're not repentant at all. In fact, as we set forth in our complaint in Dallas, Texas, class action lawsuit, which is moving forward, this was either accidental or intentional, but in any event, it was a bioweapon that was being developed in a lab at Wuhan, China. A bioweapon, incidentally, that your government, yes, your government, to use the term more than loosely, paid for with a $3.7 million grant during the Obama administration to the laboratory in Wuhan, China that was developing these weapons of mass destruction. We gave them the seeds of that virus, allegedly to do research to prevent a pandemic, which is exactly what we're having right now. Now, our lawsuit, we had the clerk of the court in Dallas, Texas, send by Federal Express, which is the way you serve it under Rule 4 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, to the Chinese ministries and other agencies in Beijing and throughout China. You guessed it, they're not accepting receipt from Federal Express. They won't even answer to an American lawsuit. Well, we'll have them served. We'll have the judge order them served by alternative methods, either through publication or through serving the embassy here in Washington, D.C., and if necessary, we'll go through diplomatic protocol with the State Department, which is expensive, but we'll do it. And that's why we need your financial support. Go to freedomwatchusa.org, contribute with tax-deductible contributions, sign up to see if you qualify to be a member of our class action. Already we have over 2,000 plaintiffs and counting. We also have our criminal case in The Hague, the International Criminal Court of Justice, where we're asking the judges there to indict, try, convict, and sentence and throw in prison the Chinese leadership, who are nothing less than criminals. This is the biggest criminal act in world history, short of a nuclear holocaust. We haven't had that one yet, and that may be on the horizon as well, God forbid. But here's something that's really interesting. Just late last week, the Communist Chinese, through their news organs, attacked Freedom Watch and me publicly. Now, I take that as a great compliment. It's great to be called ugly by a frog, and these people are vile human beings. So at least we've got their attention. But here's the irony. While the Communist Chinese in Beijing, the leadership from President Xi on down, recognizes that Freedom Watch has a legal knife to their throat, Fox News won't even report what we did. Now, what does that tell you about this dishonest, fraudulent network that professes to be conservative but isn't really conservative? And just late last week, Brian Kilmeade, who's a nice guy who appears on Fox and Friends in the morning, looking quite concerned these days because I think his job is in jeopardy, basically pandered to the new owner-manager of Fox News, Lachlan Murdoch, who's a leftist. You want to know why the president's been criticizing Fox News? Because it's going left. That's the ideology of Lachlan Murdoch. If you saw the show Loudest Voice, which also depicted my client, Laurie Loon, being sexually and brutally assaulted and abused by Roger Ailes, who was forced to resign, and I have a lawsuit against Fox News in that regard for Laurie Loon because the current head, Suzanne Scott, says she didn't know what happened. Well, she was the facilitator. She actually got hotel rooms for Roger Ailes to abuse women, including Laurie Loon. This is this network. But I do take solace in the fact that the Chinese have paid attention to what we're doing because we do have a legal knife to their throat. And I urge you to join that class action, see if you qualify, contribute. This is expensive. We also have a lawsuit that was brought in Jerusalem, Israel, with our fine Israeli legal colleagues there. We've got over 4 witnesses now, experts who will testify that this was a bioweapon. And because of that, there's no immunity for the Chinese to claim should they ever decide to voluntarily defend themselves in our courts. Now, they're going to have to defend themselves. Now, the big question is going to be, will the U.S. Department of Justice intervene on behalf of the Communist Chinese? You can probably expect that to happen. And I've been urging the president to support our suit by ordering that worthless attorney general by the name of Bill Barr. The only thing he's done was to scratch the backs of an establishment Republican figure Michael Flynn, General Michael Flynn, and I hope he does get off, Michael Flynn. But the guy's done nothing. He hasn't indicted anybody. Not Comey, not McCabe, not Lovebergs, not Strzok and Page, not Orr, not Clapper, not Brennan, not Obama, not the Clintons. No one. Don't expect anything to happen from John Durham up there in Connecticut. This is for show. It ain't for dough. We know what happens. I've been doing this for 25 years as the head of Judicial Watch and now Freedom Watch. You need to support Freedom Watch because Freedom Watch is your Justice Department. We're there for you. We're not afraid. I'm not afraid of the communist Chinese leadership. Apparently the president is, because all he's ever going to do is call it a Chinese virus, apparently. You know, I love the president. I want him to win the next election. I say that in my personal capacity, not as the head of Freedom Watch. I don't tell people who to vote for as the head of Freedom Watch. But you know what? He's created a mess here with this COVID-19. I'm going to call it straight up. And his reelection is in jeopardy. There's mixed messages coming out of the White House every single day. He has not been strong enough with China. He's boasting, you know, about how many tests we've given. And that's not the right thing to do. Even golfer Rory McIlroy, you know, said, I don't want to play golf with him anymore. I mean, you can't politicize this pandemic. What you have to do is actually get down to work here and straighten things out, because there's so many mixed messages and confusions out there that the American people don't know what's happening, and they don't know when they're going to be able to go back to work or continue with their lives. So right now, the best thing that we can do is support Freedom Watch in our lawsuits against the Chinese, the communist Chinese, not the Chinese people. They're good people. And in fact, 30% or more of the people who sign up for a class action are Chinese Americans or Asian Americans. But these really terrible people in Beijing, these criminals, need to be held to account. So go to freedomwatchusa.org. We're fighting back. No one else is fighting back. And try to join our class action, see if you qualify. You know, if you're an American citizen, a permanent resident, you probably do. But at this point, or live here and otherwise, but at this point, you need to support what we're doing at Freedom Watch. Share this podcast. It's on Spotify, iTunes, freedomwatchusa.org. It's on Roku. It's on Amazon Fire. It's on our Facebook page, Freedom Watch's YouTube channel. It's on Twitter. It's sent out on Twitter, and share it far and wide. And I have to thank Radio America, which is one of the few places other than WorldNet Daily that actually lets you tell the truth to the American people. We don't get it from the government. As they say about lawyers, if the government's mouth is moving, you know it's lying. And that's why you have to support yourself. God helps those that help themselves. And join Freedom Watch's class action. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. Support us with tax-deductible contributions. Join our class action. See if you qualify. And God bless you. God bless your family. God save your family. Stay safe. God save everyone throughout the world, because these communist Chinese have committed the greatest crime against humanity in world history. I'll be back tomorrow with another podcast of Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman. Until then, thank you.
O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
For listening to me.